beautiful feast of Christmas, this wonderful celebration of the gift of the presence of God that comes often in a hidden way underneath the surface, underneath the frailty of a little baby, the frailty of our humanity. And that great gift that hopefully we hope to discover as we unwrap that gift and discover that presence of God. And see, on this beautiful day that was a gift that was revealed to shepherds in the fields who came to behold and give praise, the wise men who came from afar, following the star, and then throughout the centuries, many saints, and of course today the patron saint of Christmas, of course, as we know, Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas, now is commonly known as Santa Claus, and wearing the red suit, which a bishop would wear, worn in that time. So, great celebration of Saint Nicholas, Santa Claus, who was inspired to give because of what he realized he had received from the Lord. So, for him to give back to others what he had received. And of course, as we know, Santa Claus had a busy night last night, but he has a job during the summer too. Santa Claus has a job in the summer. He actually works as a farmer. That way he can ho 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 all year round. Some of you may have seen a few weeks ago we had our big Parish show, the Epic Christmas Show, and in the Christmas show, you might have someone said, Father Ray, there looked like was more than three. There was four wise men in that play. Anything about what's with four wise men anyway? So most of us we know it's three wise men. Well, today we're going to do have a little drama to present to you, and this is the story of the fourth wise man. Understand who is that fourth wise man after all? Hopefully, at the end of this, you'll know who that is. And so, as you know, one day the wise men saw the star in the sky and decided to follow it because they realized it would lead them to a newborn king. So they all packed up gifts to bring, and they decided to meet at a certain spot so they could all set out together on a long journey across the desert to Bethlehem. Well, three of them arrived at the spot they were to leave from: Casper, Melchior, and Balthazar, bringing their gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So let's see, there are three wise men? One, two, three.
It's supposed to be a fourth.
Okay, there's supposed to be a fourth.
Have you seen him?
I haven't seen him.
He's always late. He's always behind.
Behind, okay. I really can't wait for him. Okay. If I see him, I'll tell him you already had it off. All right, we follow the star and set off on your journey. All right, great. Take care. Have a nice trip. See you next fall. All right. Well, missing, of course, was the fourth wise man, a man named Artaban. The fourth wise man also greatly desired to find the newborn king, and he had with him three gifts himself: a ruby, a diamond, and a precious pearl. The reason the fourth wise man was late, however, was not because he was lazy or slow, but because on his way to meet up with the other three, he came across a person who had been beaten and robbed on the side of the road. A man who was beaten and robbed on the side of the road, and the fourth wise man approached him. And he knelt down and he cared for him and poured oil in his wounds, and then he brought him to an inn where he could be cared for. And he left the innkeeper with the ruby that he had to pay for any expenses. Well, finally, the fourth wise man arrived at the place where he was to meet with the other three. You're looking for the other three wise men?
Yeah, have you seen them? We were supposed to be here.
Yeah, they were here, but they couldn't wait. They said you're always late, so they took off. They went that way though, but if you hurry up, maybe you'll be able to catch them. All right. And so the fourth wise man set off across the desert and arrived at the manger with Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. And they knelt down and presented their frankincense, and myrrh. And they received a message in a dream not to tell King Herod where Jesus was, so they went back to their own country by another route. And finally, several days later, the fourth wise man arrived in Bethlehem and came to the manger. However, by this time, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph had already left and gone to Egypt to escape King Herod. Instead, the fourth wise man met another mother with a child who was trying to escape from one of the Roman soldiers that King Herod had sent to put to death all of the newborn. And the fourth wise man stepped between the mother and her newborn and this Roman soldier. And he said to the Roman soldier,
Look, I'll give you this diamond if you spare the lady's life, okay?
and the soldier was one to accept a bribe. And yeah, you go in that confessional. And so the Roman soldier left, the fourth wise man stepped in and took the mother and her baby to find a place where they could be safe. Well, after that, the fourth wise man went down to Egypt, hoping to still find that newborn king, to give him his last remaining gift, the precious pearl. However, he could not find him there. He then realized that the newborn king would not be found among the rich or the powerful, but among the poor and the weak, among his own people serving them. And so the fourth wise man left Egypt and headed back to Israel to find him. On his way back to Israel, the fourth wise man came across a poor community with many sick, poor, and crippled. And they asked him if he could stay and help them.
Suppose I could stay for a day.
This poor community, they're singing the blues. And they asked him if he could stay, and he said, well, I can stay for a day. Well, the day turned into 2 days, the 2 days into a week, the week into a month, the month into a year, and the year into 30 years. He stayed there 30 years with this community, caring for them, helping them with food, shelter, clothing, treating their sickness, and best of all, teaching them how to have care and concern for each other. Each day throughout these 30 years, he still hoped and prayed that he would one day still find the king and give him his last remaining gift. But one day he heard a report about a man in Jerusalem who was doing many wonderful things for the people, a man named Jesus. And he realized that this must be the one that he had looked for all those years before. And so he bid the community goodbye, and he set out to find him and offer him his last remaining gift, the precious pearl. Now, after 30 years of difficult service and sacrifice, the fourth wise man was now very old and very frail and not very well, having spent his life in service. When he arrived in Jerusalem to find Jesus, he found Jesus being taken away to be crucified. Seeing this, he was deeply troubled, and he hoped he could reach Jesus to give him his last remaining gift, perhaps even to ransom him from death. But before the fourth wise man could get to Jesus, he came across another person being taken away into slavery by a Roman soldier. He stopped the soldier and gave him his last gift, the precious pearl, to let this person, the slave, go free. To give her her freedom and redemption. Because of this, by the time the fourth wise man got to the cross, Jesus had already died. The fourth wise man was very sad to see the one he had sought for these many years die on the cross. The fourth wise man, too, was now very near death himself. But before the fourth wise man died, Jesus appeared to him. And the fourth wise man looked up and said to Jesus,
Lord, it is you. Long I have sought you. I used to have many great gifts, but now I have nothing. I'm sorry.
Jesus said to him,
You've already given me the greatest gift of all. When I was hungry, you gave me to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me to drink. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was homeless, you took me in. When I was sick, you cared for me.
Oh no, Lord, that's not so. I didn't even see you.
I tell you, whenever you did these for the least of my brothers and sisters, you did them for me. Now come, enter my Father's house.
Did you hear that? I finally found the Lord, and he accepted all my gifts.
That's how the fourth wise man gave his gifts to the king. It's really you and me. How we are called to give our gifts throughout our lives to the Lord by sharing them with one another. That which we do here on Christmas Day and hopefully throughout the year. Not only the gifts more than the gifts that we buy in the store, but the gifts that our Lord has placed within all of our hearts and lives. Those gifts of mercy, compassion, service, of sacrifice, the gifts of love, the gifts of forgiveness, of kindness and faithfulness all our days. So once again, I want to thank my cast and all those that make this